Alright, so I came home from work to see that I have a package here, and let's take a look at it. This is something I've been looking forward to since I heard it was announced a few months ago. As I have a really good my family got a really good record player a couple of years ago, and I've been collecting them crazy since then. As you can see, they've reissued the Lord of the Rings soundtrack on vinyl. It's one of my favorite soundtracks. So here we go. Which one is this? Two Towers. So I had them all pre-ordered. I think they were only like 30 bucks a piece, so pretty good value. Alright, now let's get these open, because no, I don't collect things to have them sit in shrink wrap all the time. I know some people do, and there'll be people who are undoubtedly mad, because, yeah. But these are mass-produced, so anything that's mass-produced, I say you use it like it was intended. Just try and get the shrink wrap off first of all, and see what it looks like on the inside. I like the covers. I always like these covers here. Overall, I think the Lord of the Rings movies always had good posters and covers. So let's see. It feels very premium. It feels like the nicer things. Okay, yeah, here's what the sleeves look like. Cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, there's a right up from Howard Shore lyrics for the pieces of music with lyrics. Looks like, yeah. It's not the extended soundtracks that I have on CD somewhere, but I don't have a CD player in my living room right now hooked up to my sound system, so, and there are certain video games where I don't listen to the music or the dialogue, so I like listening to to records while I'm playing that. I'll hook them up to my sound system. And, yeah. I always like this, I forget which one of them, whether it was Alan Hall or which Tolkien artist did this, but I always liked this art of Treebeard. I always liked it ever since seeing it on one of the extras. I forget whether it was the standard DVD or in the appendices to the extended edition, but yeah. Let's see what this is. Yeah. There's some more by Peter Jackson and all this. So, stuff specific to this. Looks like it, yeah, again, has everything that's on the CDs on these two records. This is probably going to be the one that was hardest to pick what to put on two records, because, of course, you can only put so much on two records, so not everything's going to be here, and especially the extended cut is over 4 hours long, so I'm not going to be too upset if there's some pieces missing from Return of the King. But yeah, overall this is very nice, and I think it's going to look very nice in my record collection. As you can see, I'll let you know if there are any problems with the sound, or how I thought they sounded, or if there's any real differences to the original CDs, yeah, after I listen to them tonight. But yeah, overall, I'm very pleased with this. Alright, so I've had a listen to this, and yeah, the mastering, the technical quality of the mastering of a recording sounds great, especially through a surround sound system. Having it all surround you, it doesn't sound quite as good as my old CD, but of course, why would you expect a record to sound as good as a CD? That wasn't the point. But record has its own, you know, sound, its own, sound, and it's very interesting hearing this in a non-digital format for the first time as somebody who has I've been collecting film soundtracks since I was a kid, and this is the first time I've ever heard this in a non-digital form, so that was pretty interesting. So that was kind of interesting, and it's very well done. I'd say it sounds a little better than the MP3s I ripped about 20 years ago, but there is a problem. While they did a great job technically, whoever was recording this, I don't know if they're using the same masters from the old, from back when it was, new or anything. But there is a problem. I think they may have gone to a cheap manufacturer. Why do I say this? Because there are two faults on this that honestly I would have been willing to pay more to get them fixed. First of all, first thing I noticed when I took this out, I don't know, let me try and get it. Do you see it? Do you see that very cheap hole that looks like somebody forced it through? And it looks like this wasn't the best stamped. This whole record was cheaply stamped. And believe it or not, that's better because I had to actually use some scissors to like grind this down so that I could get it on my record player. So that's pretty disappointing for a $33 record. But then there's also a problem at the end of side 1. And I know this is a problem that they put on it as this. And you saw I took it right out of the shrink wrap and put it right on my record player. But before I use my record player, I always clean the needle. And I always do a light dusting of the record. And then I play it, right? I mean, as you can see, this cheap stamping, it actually damaged the protective sleeve. But towards the end of the record, on side A, the last two tracks are The Treason of Asgard and The Black Rider, right? Well, you get to the end of The Treason of Asgard, all of a sudden, you get this annoying scratch, and then the scratching sound, and then this jump. The volume goes way down, and then the whole thing then jumps back to the middle of Concerning Hobbits. And I tried playing this 3 times, and it did the same thing every single time. I cleaned the record, I cleaned the needle, again, did all that. You basically have to skip the first, manually skip, the first, 15 seconds of the Black Rider to get it to play properly. And I think this is and I looked, I can't find where the damage is on the record, so I think that's another thing that was done when it was stamped. Whatever factory they got to stamp this was cheaped out, and it's a shame because the rest of the technical quality of this is really good. So it's clear the people recording this and the people putting this together cared a great deal. This is a very, very nice thing. This is a very nice thing, and it's something that I really like the look of on my shelf. And otherwise, I had an immensely fun amount. I got a lot of joy out of listening to this while I got a lot of joy out of listening to this while I played a game of Monopoly, which is my favorite board game. It was a lot of fun. But somebody cheaped out, somebody screwed up. I think they used a bad factory because, and I've worked at a factory, I know what it is to be rushing, but I can tell you, as somebody who worked on a factory, and we weren't even making premium products, we were making something that you sell for $1. We wouldn't have let something this defective go go past our quality inspection. So that's disappointing. And if it does come down to the fact that, well, what do you expect for $33? I would have rather paid $45 or $50 each and gotten something that was manufactured properly. So, yeah. Now, the rest of it plays fine. The other two don't seem to have this problem. But I think this must be a manufacturer's defect and not something that was done in shipping, because I couldn't find a mark on the record. It seems to actually be stamped badly, and that's a shame. Because at least in the Fellowship of the Rings case, it ruins an otherwise very enjoyable record, and something that I would consider one of the highlights of my film score collection. So, yeah, I would suggest, if you're thinking of buying this, wait. Wait until, wait a few months, see if there's a recall, and I don't know, wait for a second pressing, maybe it'll do a second one somewhere else, or just, I guess, stick to your old CDs, because, yeah, with this one, I don't know, I'm going to contact Amazon, see if maybe they'll take it back, but I don't know. But yeah, but it's kind of disappointing that they cheaped out here, and that, I mean, I have cheap records from, like, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, my record collection is so vast, I have actual 78s of Christian music from the 1940s, and those are in better shape. I have records from the 80s that are in better shape than I have records from the 80s that were sold much cheaper than this was, and they're in better shape than this. So yeah, I would just say, this was a very enjoyable listen when it worked. It's just a disappointment that it didn't always work right out of the box. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright, thank you for your time.